when I bought this house, my wife wondered if we can have one of those smart electric systems where you can use your smartphone to turn on the lights and stuff like that. And I decided against it because number one, it was expensive, but number two, it's spyware. Everything that's smart is spyware. Everything that is smart. So, in this situation, there was a person with a smart house who apparently wasn't even home when someone rang his doorbell, an Amazon delivery guy. And according to the delivery guy, the doorbell was racist. And when the guy got home, all of his features, all of his smart features were disabled because Amazon considered that he violated their terms of service. So he couldn't turn on the lights, the doorbell wasn't functioning, and many other systems were down as well. So now he has to contact Amazon, and he has to show evidence that he wasn't racist. So after a couple of days of review, they reinstate his account without even apologizing. But this just shows what vulnerability people open themselves to when they want a smart home. Like, you do not own aspects of your house anymore. It's not your lights anymore, it's Amazon's lights. I mean, it's so ridiculous. Like, let's assume he was racist. Let's assume this guy was incredibly like the most racist person imaginable. Why should his house be disabled? Like, do you not have authorities? Are there not police officers that should handle this matter? And if he didn't do anything illegal, should a corporation punish him? Is this the future that you want to live in? Because it's not going to be limited to racism. It's going to have like a various other TOS factors where, you know, if you break them, the company can punish you. Like, for example, let's say it's COVID again, and you know, the cameras hear that you conspire and you're spreading the conspiracy theory that it came from a Wuhan lab, and all of a sudden everything stops working, right? Like, is this the type of thing and not to mention, you know, like the justice system, like if you actually did something racist and you go to court, we're talking about, let's say, a country like UK where you don't have free speech, right? So you go to court, well, at least you get a lawyer, at least you can defend yourself, at least you can show evidence, at least, you know, the other side has to prove it. At least you have a jury. Well, with Amazon, you don't get shit. With Amazon, it seems that the accusation is enough to punish you. And then you have to find a way in order to prove your innocence. And if you're innocent, they will reinstate your account within a couple of days. And then not even apologize. So what's even more interesting is that I missed the train on this news, right? And that's a news channel. If it's not fresh, then people don't watch it. And its chances are like people won't watch this either because they will think it's parroting what other YouTubers have said. But there have been developments, which is why I have decided to talk about it. Apparently, the YouTuber which broke the story had his account canceled by Amazon. Now, he suspects that, you know, it's a little bit too coincidental. The timing is a little bit off. So it's up to people to decide on whether or not Amazon genuinely did this. But like, my fucking God, like the fact that people aren't upset about this is bizarre and bewildering, because I guess we're going to get more of this, not less, right? Like you gotta understand, even if this wasn't a test by Amazon to see how people react, there are people that these corporations employ, psychologists, who are looking at this and they're like, yeah, I mean, people are going to put up with this shit. Yeah, sure, like, you can get more power. Like, you can get a lot more social power, and you can get more control. And most people will put up with this shit. Like, our customers aren't going to complain. You can fuck with them and they're fine. You know, like there are people that literally look at these events to see how people react. And then they draw parallels and conclusions, and they will say, all right, well, this is how much the customer is willing to put up with your shit. Or you can do even more than this. Like, the customer is definitely going to be okay, you know? So, for example, in the gaming industry, like when you release a broken game on day one, there are advisors that say, yeah, there's no problem. Ship the game broken and patch it later. The customer will put up with it. You know, it is exactly what's going to be happening here. And it is very concerning. Like, my advice, do not buy anything that's smart except a smartphone and what's like the bare necessities. Like for example, last Thanksgiving, there were people which bought a smart grill. The fuck is that? Like, I was genuinely curious. Like, what is a smart grill? Like, grilling is the simplest thing that you can have, right? Like, you put fire under it and it grills. Like, why do you need a smart grill? But apparently, like, people were taking their smart grills out into the park in order to barbecue with their family for Thanksgiving, and there was a patch update. And because in the park they didn't have Wi-Fi, they couldn't operate the grill because it required the patch. Why do you do this to yourself? What's the point? And by the way, in the future, there's going to be some toys, like little robots and other pets, which are going to be ran with smart AIs and stuff. And they're very adorable, they're very cute. You can see commercials of them on Google. You know, you got like this little robot and it walks on your desk and it plays songs, and it's kind of like an Alexa that you can give orders and commands to. But it has a camera, right? Like, that's a risk factor. You're inviting another spyware into your home. And while it's a cute toy, it can gather information of you. Why would you do that? I mean, recently Tesla has been exposed in another scandal because its cars also gather information from around them in order to train their AI. And of course, you know, people can consent to this. And it's guaranteed that you're going to remain anonymous. However, Tesla employees, you know, they shouldn't be able to watch the footage, and they shouldn't be able to identify whose car that is. But hey, guess what? You know, you're driving your car around, you're going past landmarks, you're going past, you know, you're walking your car into, sorry, you're driving your car into your garage. Like, that's thing that they can identify. And then, upsettingly enough, they were laughing about accidents and car crashes and that type of stuff. Like, people's privacy was incredibly violated. Let's put it like this. And it's upsetting that there's no backlash, or there's no, I guess, like, counterculture against this. At least not one that's significant enough. Hey, take into account that the laws in my country are that if you read someone else's email without their consent, or you look at someone else's phone without your consent, you can go to jail. That is called a violation of the secret of correspondence. So basically, the lawmakers, like, because of the culture that we had in the past, decided that the secret of correspondence, like the private communication between individuals, is so sacred that any violation of it warrants jail time. That's how our ancestors thought. And when you look at how people think now, it is incredibly concerning. They do not care about their privacy at all whatsoever, to the point where, like, a guy who worked at Tesla even said, it's like, well, the customer doesn't care. If the customer doesn't care, then why shouldn't they do it? It's a great question. You should think about it. Anyway, right, so do not buy things that are smart, except the smartphone. But anything else, like smart cities, smart houses, smart this and smart that, it's spyware. Just read it as a spyware house. Spyware city. Let me know what you guys think, though. And as usual, I will see you in the comment section. Take care.